Justice for Jambo. I've been made to look foolish, basically. Welcome back to the UKEL. I am Will Byron Whittingham. I'm joined by Agent Joanna Thorne. I'm not even going to bother pointing. I'm too somber. I hyped the matchup. They won't even match up against cover because Eagerspeed is not a jungler anymore. But sadly, Jambo will not be gracing our rift. But we do have two very good teams gracing us this game. We've got Vector against Revenge, two teams that are looking for Vector. Their first game didn't look very convincing, and it was against Mythos, another team that people were not too convinced about going in. Revenge fared better, I think it's fair to say, but very telling how this game will go.
Yeah, Vector did not look great last week. Unsure on what it was. I don't recall their draft being, terrible by any means. Certainly a little bit out there, the Hecarim pick. Not something we see often. Meanwhile, on the other side, Revenge. A very close game in their game last week, but didn't really give away much information on the true strength of this roster. So we have to wait and see. And of course, Ego Speed coming in to substitute a veteran by the UK scene's rights. And I'm sure a lot of people in chat are going to be hyping our man Max up in these games. We hopefully get to see him on one of his signature picks. We'll have to see how much freedom he's allowed in a game like this, where you probably only expect to see him this one time, this entire split, which, may make you feel sad, may make you feel happy, depending on how you feel on Ego Speed and his gameplay. But we're going to have to wait and see whether he brings some kind of excitement to this game, as picks and bans underway.
Yeah, going to be Vector on the blue side, Revenge on the red side. Of course, Grisnek not going to be playing for Revenge this game, has been subbed out due to a couple of connectivity issues at his house. There were storms in Poland, apparently, is what I've heard on the grapevine. So Eagerspeed coming in. Eagerspeed, interestingly, tweeted out saying this may be his last ever competitive game top, because he has role swap mid. Is really actually a cover for Splaff there. And on the blue side, we've got Sarket in the jungle, replacing our good friend Jambo. We've got Fresh, Ezreal, and Graves all taken off the board. Nothing too strange in the bans here.
Yeah, nothing too strange. We'll have to wait and see whether or not the Aphelios actually ends up getting banned out in this draft. It seems to be a relatively common trend that he is just not present in games because he's banned. However, has slipped through here and there in the top regions, of course. Varus being a red side ban is more or less a homestay. Very strange, actually, to see Varus go through last game. And actually going to see a Ziggs removed away here from both Fuyu and Splaff, so not going to have their hands on that one either. Certainly Ziggs, I hope a champion overall that rises in priority. Is a very powerful champion overall, and I think Fuyu as a play-by-play probably very fun to watch and cast over.
It's two sides, right? It's when the ultimate comes in, as in those team fights in the last game, it's really awesome to see so much damage coming through, able to just delete people from the map. But if a Ziggs is behind, it's kind of just sit under tower and farm, which is pretty dead. But first round of bans has completely gone through. Jarvan rounds it out, so we're going to be seeing the Syndra as the first login for Vector, a very strong pick that, because it's banned so often, we don't actually get to see it too often.
Yeah, we don't often get to see Syndra actually make it through picks and bans. It does mean, however, that Aphelios is up, and whilst Syndra can overpower Aphelios in lane, I feel like it's not necessarily a trade you're unhappy to take, but actually just gonna R1 Olaf. Okay, we could be in for some gameplay. Well, we'll have to wait and see what Revenge decide to pair this with, whether they decide to pick up the Aphelios here, whether they just decide to avoid it entirely, or whether we get a pick to actually supplement the Olaf, something along the lines of Karma or Lulu. But no, securing away the Aphelios, I believe, just makes outright the most sense regardless. Is such a powerful pick on this patch, and Senna and Wukong. So this, like I said, I believe was the Mad Lions bot lane pairing. So if our teams were keeping an eye on the LEC, they did see it end up being flexed there. I'm pretty sure that was the matchup. So we'll have to wait and see whether or not it remains a flex towards not only the jungle and top lane, but also the bottom lane. And Lulu makes the most sense. We did see, of course, Envision absolutely roll over London United. No, London Esports. There you go. The second time, London Esports in the UKLC with this pairing, and looked like it was a very scary game. I think no one really had Envision down to win that game in the UKLC, myself included. So certainly a very scary pairing. So going into this second round of bans, Trundle makes sense as a ban. You probably just want to remove away two junglers if you are Revenge. And on the side of Vector, I would imagine the LB ban is a little bit out there. I don't feel like Splaff is an LB player, but curious one. I would have imagined that you actually just end up banning away something like Galio and Karma, just something that can supplement the little more. Because now what could end up happening is, if neither of these champions are banned away, if Syndra ends up in the mid lane, then we would see Syndra kind of be nullified in that sense. We'll have to wait and see what this last ban is. Either way, they're going to have to leave either of them up. And if you're Revenge, I think you're kind of just happy taking Karma if you play it. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Let's not. Well, you know what? I don't talk about hovers here. No siree. We talk about lock-ins only. But Fiora, Trundle, LeBlanc, and Galio were the 4 confirmed bans, and it's going to be on Fuyu Revenge. What are they going to pick up? Where are they going to look for the counter pick? It looks like they're going to be looking for the counter pick top, as Zoe will be their mid lane pick.
Yeah. So I have questions for the Zoe because this still could be flexed around. I guess the Syndra is somewhat solidified as the mid laner given what Vector have in theory, but if we're playing, you know, crazy flex wars, in crazy worlds, of course Syndra could end up top jungle, but we won't talk about those kind of
let's leave
those. We'll leave those out there. Maokai being picked up, and also Shyvana instant locked here, so
I like that.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit of Shyvana come out as answers into these tanks that can't necessarily split push or duel too well. And what you end up often seeing is that Shyvana ends up going something like Ignite plus Teleport, won't have Flash, etc. And this is not the matchup that you want to pick into it if you see Shyvana. So very much a counter pick to themselves, Ego Speed shouldn't necessarily have the best of times. I'll have to see where champions end up going. I imagine that Maokai ends up going with Senna, and Shyvana ends up in the top side. Wukong ends up in the jungle. Actually seeing...
I think it's
I
going to be...
The draft was so flexible, actually. I have to give it to Vector here.
Yeah, absolutely. It does. We do have some time to swap over, but from looking at it, Shyvana, I think, makes the most sense in that jungle role. From what they've got, it could be the Wukong, it could be the Maokai, but I expect it to be the Shyvana, and then you've got these two champions that can be flexed.
Yeah, I feel like Vector missed out on the opportunity here to really go hard on the draft, in my opinion.
Okay.
I feel like they could have had pretty good matchups across the board, so flexing these champions in the way they have, we'll have to see if it pays off, because I certainly feel like you move Shiv into the top lane into Ornn, you move Maokai down to bot side with the Senna, that becomes an oppressive bot side, that then becomes a Shyvana that doesn't really have a champion on the other side of the rift that can answer her and split. And then you just have a Wukong jungle, which 2v2 with the Syndra should do pretty well. However, this is how we've seen the flexes come out from Vector. So we'll have to actually see how it ends up being played out. Meanwhile, on the opposite side, Revenge seem to be pretty confident and happy with what they got. They have the Lulu Aphelios. They have the Zoe in the mid lane. They've got Olaf. They have very strong early game champions sort of bridge into the Aphelios and Lulu sort of hyper scale and hyper late game fantasy. So if Revenge play this right, I feel like they have the draft edge here. Curious to see whether or not it will end up being AP Shyvana or the on-hit variant. AP Shiv seems to be the build path choice of many Shyvana jungler players.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like Vector really missed out on the opportunity here to basically have a winning matchup in every role. So we'll have to have to see how they decide to prioritize their resources and where they allocate those, because really big missed opportunity. I don't want to keep on nagging on about it, but I feel like it could have potentially have actually been a genuine misstep.
It could also come down to what people are comfortable playing, of course.
Of course.
If Nangi isn't a Shyvana player, and of course Shyvana is not typically a top lane champion, so if it is a recent tech, then it might not be something that they picked up yet, and just happy enough to, in that mid to later stages, send the Shyvana to be the answer to the odd, because even though in lady phase you won't still have that aggressive advantage, as we were talking about being able to take down the tank, you can still send Shyvana to be the anti-Ornn champion in the side lane. Of course, that creates issues because it's your jungler, that's your smite. You don't have teleport there, so it's kind of but then Ornn's teleport could easily be nullified by the Shyvana, so it creates interesting dynamics. I'm super looking forward to what Sciat Sprinter could do on Wukong, because this is a player that we've seen for a reasonable amount of time, have seen around the scene, but hasn't really been given a champion like Wukong, which is a carry champion, to come out and play. So giving this to him in the bot side is going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah, and it does set up for what can be a very, very aggressive 2v2 once the level 6 has come in, but then at the same time you're staring down Wild Growth and Aphelios ultimate, and depending on which guns he has during that kind of fight, scary business. So definitely gonna have to layer a lot of burst damage to remove the Aphelios off the face of the earth. Because that is what they're gonna have to do. If this Aphelios does actually manage to drop, then significantly the damage on the side of this revenge draft will drop.
Yes.
So certainly the priority target for much of this game, the Aphelios will have to be. And looking into this game, because of how Vector have placed their champions, it means that they're kind of going to have to sit back and farm for a little while, which I think really supplements what Revenge kind of want to do anyway. They have the Olaf. They want to realistically have Olaf get a full clear in, reset, come back out onto the map, and then look for a early dragon, and then start moving around the map, trying to secure all of those early objectives. And with the Ornn ultimate, it becomes so easy to just force down fights. But we'll have to see how Revenge actually end up reacting to this Vector draft.
And if they get punished for having these champions in weirder positions, or not even necessarily weirder positions, because they've picked champions except for the Wukong that play in these roles. But as you say, there's definitely there was an opportunity. Whether it will be a missed opportunity or whether we'll be looking back and saying, "Wow, Vector really pulled it out," is another question. We're getting on to Rip pretty soon. Just having a quick look at what everyone has got in terms of keystones. Nothing too mad, of course. We have got that Senna with grass, which is kind of the style at the moment.
Yeah, it's the mainstay for now. Somebody in the LPL, of course, pulled it out. And ever since, it has been pretty much the main build is very, very impressive as health stacking Senna with the Grasp of the Undying, with the Frozen Mallet, and then into typically a Cleaver. And so much health value just makes Senna pretty much unburstable. So very, very oppressive and can provide a lot for the team in terms of shielding and healing too.
Very interesting champion pickup because it is that tankier style, and it's not like Vector haven't got tanks on their roster, right? They've got Maokai, they've got Wukong, who can be a bit beefy. Shyvana as well can be a little bit naturally beefy. So whether they'll have the damage is a question. Jamada, do you think that Vector will be able to get themselves over the line against this Revenge roster with this lineup?
I feel like it could eventually come to a point where if they aren't accelerating gold, then the entire game just turns into a can we kill food?
Okay.
Can we kill the Aphelios with barrier and a Lulu in his pocket with heal and a bunch of support items? And it's going to end up coming down to whether or not this Wukong is actually able to reliably get on top of Fuyu so that he can be, CC to death. Yeah. With Maokai, with a Scatter of the Week, with all of the damage that can follow up. But it's such a conditional way of having to win the game later on that normally in those kind of scenarios, Aphelios just ends up winning out when he has a pocket support like this.
As you see, ladies and gentlemen, we are now on the Rift. If you've got us tabbed down because we were in chat select, then tab us back up because we're into game. We've got Vector on the blue side. We've got Revenge on the red side. Revenge, of course, won their first game. Vector, however, did not. Both of these teams looking to assert themselves into that higher echelons of the league, because UKEL, this split is very, very close. A lot of teams can show up on their day, and I think it might be the closest that this league has ever looked.
Certainly, I think the closest the league has ever looked. So many teams that are just on paper very, very close, especially in a one-round robin. It seems like a lot of these teams are going to end up within 1 to 2 wins of each other coming into the split. But we'll have to see whether we end up with very clear, strong, and weak teams. But finally getting to look at the game, if you didn't notice, Severo and Ego Speed managed to get a late invade in onto the top side in the mid lane, but Severo is going to be able to pick up 3 camps for himself in Shyvana's blue side quadrant, so going to be ahead on tempo there, but is being matched on the opposite side, so a slightly awkward map split. You would normally imagine that they would maybe want to perhaps map split on the bottom side, but nonetheless, there's the option that they went for. Have to see how it pays dividends, if at all.
Could be definitely interesting. Definitely not what we'd expected to see from these junglers. You did say that Olaf is looking to be aggressive, looking to get these early plays, early skirmishes to pick up objectives, and we'll have to see if he can do so with the vertical jungles and the jungle being split in this direction, because ganking into a Maokai, not always all that fun. And ganking into a Maokai is under tower, even less so.
Yeah, and it certainly is strange. You would imagine that if you are this Olaf team, that you really want to actually try and play into securing this first dragon, you're going to have sort of wishy-washy priority in the mid lane between Zoe and Syndra. And it certainly can be won over by the Zoe at points if she sort of expends the mana for it, but same can be said for Syndra. However, the bottom side, you'd imagine Fuyu and Loftus can kind of win over Prio eventually in a melee versus ranged support matchup. So curious as to see why this map split has occurred, as trades coming down, but nothing really coming of it. But Ego Speed's certainly getting the best of this top lane matchup early.
Able to push and able to control the farm, and building himself quite a sizable lead at the 5-minute mark, and definitely wants to perform well, right? He come in as a substitute, week 2 of the league, so it's very early days. Whether he wants to try and dethrone members of this team and become the starting player, or whether he's opted for a sub role because of other commitments, at this level it's always a question you've got to ask, because a lot of times substitute players maybe don't have as much time to scrim or as much time to play the game as the starting members, and are happy to just come in as and when needed.
Yeah, we'll have to see where good old Max's priorities lie in terms of how well he performs here and whether or not he's really trying to come back into the competitive scene. But as things stand, it's actually going to be Vector that get there inside here into the dragon. And pretty much on spawn, going to be taken down at 5:15 first dragon, and Severo nowhere to be seen. And of course, Shyvana is one of the better dragon takers early on in the game. It's practically the whole point of the champion. So able to secure that one away. Bit of an oopsie, I feel, if you're Revenge, to give away a dragon in such a nature, especially early on. But of course, do have the late game condition of the Aphelios and Lulu, so potentially not even really too stressed about that one.
These people once again looking to get a little bit of pressure onto Niangi on the Maokai, but there's a lot of sustain on Maokai, so he's not going to be too worried about taking a bit of poke and taking a little bit of a fight as they're doing now. But it's tagged top. There's unlikely to be any kind of play here. Neither jungler seems particularly interested in the top lane, and I guess he does hit 6 first using the Ornhorn, maybe looking to get the fight with the advantage, just about to get a knockup, but a lot of damage coming down onto Maokai, but he's able to sustain, able to turn it around. Who's going to get the kill? Both going alone. Niangi doesn't have mana though. Ego Speed has mana to burn moving forward, looking for the flash. Gets the first blood. The Prince of Top is back.
Prince of Top is back indeed, finds himself with the level advantage and just immediately takes advantage of it. In the name, just pulls down the Ornhorn in an extended fight, flashes on top of Niangi, and not really much Niangi can do that far up the lane. And the Ego Speed picks himself up the solo kill, Prince of Top lane. Picking himself up that one, and now comes down to how will Vector actually respond to this? How will Revenge actually play around this potentially very fed Ornn? He's going to have a TP available to him. Going to path down to the bottom side, get a swap on for this Rift Herald. And now this, once we see the swap come down, is what I'd imagine is going to be a very, very massive skirmish in around 90 seconds or so. Given that Ego Speed is going to have his ult available and TP up, should end up having priority bot. Kind of comes down to which bottom lane here in the top side ends up with the priority, as Vector's bot lane were first to the lane. They are going to get the initial shoves, so they will have control of the river. And as things stand, we'll have control of mid lane priority too, as Ego Speed is just getting the better end of the trades.
Just looking to, you know, let Niangi he's there, but the engage top side. He needs to be careful. Barrier has been used, dodges out the Q, takes a decent amount of damage on the way out though. Does need to be careful, and priority on the top side, definitely in Vector's favor.
Yeah, and you would imagine with you getting chunked out, it's going to be very, very difficult for Revenge to actually come in here and try and contest this Rift Herald, so seems like we'll be in Revenge's pocket. We'll end up actually seeing any TPs come down, as Wet Noodle fight does just continue down here. Certainly not getting any better.
I guess the question in the bot side there, in that kind of situation, Rift Herald is still up, and it looks like they might actually be contested. Silence Splitter in the bush looking for Lofticus. Not being able to find anything though. Severa has to actually move in and try to get Starset off. He's going to steal away the Rift Herald. Ego Speed there with the knockup, picks up the kill. And now Niangi on the side looking to do the same, but the Ragnarok will stop any roots from landing. Is going to be able to pick up the kill. Severo picks up the tree, cuts him down with his meat cleaver. And just like that, Revenge get the objective, and they get the fight.
Yeah, I'm very scratching my chin right now. Why? Okay.
That's going on to Fuyu. Fuyu trying to dance away, getting a lot of damage, but there's no game design there as he's going to be taking down Wukong, picking up the kill.
Yeah, not even 200 years can save you from 200 years, unfortunately. So not able to 1v1 his way out of that one, even with the lifesteal gun and Herald placed down. And you have to really wonder, should it be Revenge that end up with that Herald there? I mean, Vector had the correct kind of setup. They had the mid lane priority. They had Fuyu chunked out in the top side. They had the top side priority. How does a fight like that even unfold if you're Vector? That should be a secured objective right there. So,
Jamada.
I
don't know whether I'm trolling.
Yeah.
Fuyu's got support.
Look, man, I'm
just trying to do my job here. I'm just watching Legends. Is this hidden tech? Or is this... What?
I know I'm supposed to be the analyst, but I'm not a miracle worker, man. I don't know if I can explain this one. I suppose obviously on paper it's supposed to give more gold over. Could see an engage here. Doesn't seem like it's gonna... Like on paper, of course, it does mean that he could be giving more gold over to the Lulu for her to finish items sooner, but even then I don't know.
Support item. So it's not like fasting Aphelios, which also, why would you do that? It's, yeah, please.
Maybe
fighting Barry's gonna avoid going. Just land off the Syndrome. He gets me looking to get some more damage down, but in the backline, Lofticus gonna be melted away. So that Sprinter on the side looking to get on the food. Will be able to. Barry comes down, keep him alive a little bit longer, and now in the back he can do some damage. He gets me picks up another kill of the game for the Ornn, and Revenge. Not the perfect fight for them, and they lose out on the Dragon as well.
Yeah, lose out on the Dragon. Revenge do so. Vector 2 dragons now for the good. will also have the Ocean Soul potentially available to them. And very curious, considering Revenge obviously won out the last skirmish very hard on the top side and did have the gold lead too, but it's not quite the correct kind of setup that you probably want if you're Revenge, so. No dragon for them this time around. Of course, they are still waiting for the Aphelios to truly come online. He's off from it. Support item pickup is... Look, maybe we're just not big brain enough.
Imagine the vision control.
Right.
That Revenge will have in like 15 minutes time.
Sure.
I'm clutching. Niangi also clutching, but able to stay alive. Again, needs to be a little bit more careful. Talked about how he can sustain, but Ego Speed has just been proving that he's definitely got the better of this top lane in its current state. And with the help of Severo, is able to safely start beef with the tree, but not going to come and get a kill this time around. Theo and Lofticus do need to be a little bit careful because Vector on this bot side have been playing pretty well. Silent Sprinter 2 kills on the Wukong, and of course the Senna not going to worry too much about anything like that because this fasting Senna is going to be building up AD and is absolutely going to hit like a truck in the late game.
It's going to deal a lot of damage whilst also simultaneously being ridiculously tanky with the new stay build. So going to be hard to lock down and actually pick up with that much HP value. And meanwhile, Synapse Sprinter very much doing well enough for himself. Curious build actually in his inventory, picking up the Serrated Dirk.
I don't really call a Serrated Dirk on a Wukong a curious build.
I mean, it's not necessarily curious. It's just the fact that he's double building into 2 items, right?
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily what you want, I suppose, but we'll have to see. Oh, okay. I think I...
No, it can't. No. Hold. There is no... Okay. Johannes, please tell me I'm wrong. Please tell me that I'm crazy. That Fuyu picked up the sickle because he thought it was a cull initially. Please tell me I'm wrong.
I need a second proof.
Let's take stock. 14 minutes.
Let's take a step back, Will. Let's take a step back. Look at the game. The grand scheme of things here is Revenge with the gold lead at the moment. Almost 3k for them. The Ocean Dragon is spawning in a minute and a half, but it will be the Rift Herald spawning up in around 10 seconds or less. So with the inside track on that one, they are probably going to end up starting this one up. No one is bot side for the start of this fight. Everyone is here on this side of the map. On both teams, got an engage going though.
Just splat. The Yankees looking to come forward. Center up will come through to give the shield, and you've got to imagine this is curtains for Zoe going to be shut down by very easy ultimate, easy kill. As Sarset will be the one on the Rift Herald. EKSP gets the knock up onto Babe, but not going to have damage for the kill, keeping 2 members of Vector out of the fight for now, but the Rift Herald all but secured, going to be taken away by Vector. Sarset happy to pick up that one as Shyvana and moves away. So Vector get the kill and the objective.
Yeah, and seems like they're even going to have good reset timers to be the first towards this Ocean Dragon, potentially. As we see the bottom lane of Revenge only now just getting their reset in. So Vision Denial and Placement going to be the name of the game for Hawkeye and crew. But certainly still a fight that, if you're Revenge, you still could reasonably take. Your Olaf is pretty strong. Ornn is nearly unkillable, but doesn't actually have the ultimate available to him for this fight. So still, even then, it's a bit risky. You have to wonder whether or not Revenge just opt into giving up this dragon and flipping it on the soul point, right? Seeing if Fuyu can actually get enough gold in his inventory and pick up the items to be relevant, because being 16 minutes in and not having an IE it's not great.
Chandler 4 coming in for Vector. They might want to look to turn this one around. Hawkeye already below half health, so it does need to be careful, but Dragon is up. Vector have control. Looking to start it up. Of course, it is Ocean Rift. Don't know if we've mentioned that one, but yeah, Rift Herald also going to be you know, giving him some more support before he leaves for the bot lane, and Dragon going to be secured soon after. Third one for Vector, soul point in 5 minutes, and with a Shyvana, Vector are really going to be licking their lips at that one.
Yeah, certainly. And whilst you have to say Revenge certainly outscale in this game, Ocean Soul could potentially make up for that deficit in Champions. Of course, you would maybe argue that Infernal Soul would be the one that gives you the biggest sort of power boost in terms of trying to go, you know, punch for punch here. We're going to see an engage, and Yangi's probably caught out.
Caught out, gets knocked up by the Ornn. Horn damage coming through, and once again, the tree gets undertowed. Splaff going to pick up the kill onto Zoe. That's his first of the game, and no, that's from Vector. Really interested in getting involved in scraps over a dead dragon, so going to be moving away. But a good pickup there from Revenge. They do need to try to keep themselves on parity, have that gold lead still, with 3 dragons and a tower already taken by Vector. They do need to start making macro plays sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and I know we've not really touched much on how hard this Revenge draft does actually scale. The Olaf for once isn't just a corpse on the rift. He's going to have Lulu to actually facilitate him past the 25-minute mark, and Aphelios is eventually going to be Aphelios. However, when you look at your, you know, let's say your Splaff, right? You know, you press tab, and you see that your Aphelios isn't even 1 item at 18 minutes into the game. You maybe start to wonder whether Fuyu is maybe along the lines of negative gaming. I don't know, man. The sickle pickup, it was, you know, it's curious. Very, very curious is maybe the word I would use, but this is the thing, because Fuyu is so far behind, you have to wonder, okay, nice pick.
Hawkeye all the catch they do, and giving the kill over to Fuyu as well should help him towards that first item a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. So just what we're talking about, right? The Aphelios needs gold right now. He is so starved of CS and any kind of resource fighting kills. Okay, Niangi is about to get chopped.
Get up to Niangi and we'll get chopped down. Easy, simple. Severa picks up the kill.
Yeah, face checking a Black Cleaver Olaf as a no armor tank. Good night is the end of the story. But yeah, Fuyu picking up that kill, very nice for him. Does of course have the infamous 13 or so minute call, I think is when he picked that one up. So we'll eventually get gold return on that, but it's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a long time. It's certainly not gonna be before this Ocean Soul Dragon potentially for Vector spawns. But you look at the top side in Ego Speed and Severo, they are so powerful that you imagine with Lofticus in support that it should be able to carry them through any kind of skirmish right now. Because when you look over at the other side at Vector, no one's necessarily scary with what's in inventories right now. The Shyvana's at 1 item, right? She doesn't really change too much with the Nashor's 2. She just gets a little bit more damage, and it means that if she can get in melee, she's not, you know, completely worthless. As Synapse Sprinter's base going to be stopped. Oh, it's a full-on skirmish.
Full-on skirmish 2v2 as Severa gets involved. Synapse Sprinter flashed away, but it's just into Lofticus. The second Mordred won't keep him alive as the Polymorph denies any chance of that, and Lulu actually the one picking up the kill.
Yeah, be picking up that kill, and it's not gonna quite deny Synapse Sprinter from being on time for the Ocean Soul Dragon, but does mean that Revenge at least pick up the gold from the tower in the top lane too. Means they can get in some resets. I believe Lofticus should as well have his Ardent in inventory in stock, so going to be able to provide that extra boost in damage. And as you were saying, you know, Severa and Ego Speed are really powerful right now, so having Lulu in support is actually going to be kind of a big deal for them. Fuyu finally manages to complete his Infinity Edge. Only took him 20 minutes. It's not a big deal. I think by maybe 35 we might see a second item completion if trends go that way, but oh, potential engage.
Helios needs to be instantly deleted. It's going to be Sarset picking up that one on the Shyvana. With only 20 seconds left on Dragon, that's a big play. Vector could be hunting for Soul.
Yeah, and they've got really good vision control around this Dragon right now. They could actually wait in the shadows and try and prey on anybody trying to poke their head in, but I think Revenge just have to give this one up right here. there is not many worlds where I see them being able to contest the dragon. However, Fuyu is undoubtedly their weakest member of the team. It is Severe and Ego Speed with all of the gold, so they could still take this fight very easily.
Ego Speed decides to move away, doesn't want to be the only one playing in, which means that Dragon's Soul, 21 minutes, secured by Vector. Jamada, would you like to hear a fun fact?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Fuyu's going to stack out his cull at 174 minions.
Am I allowed to, like, FF, like, my...
It's like, yo, can we get Sergeant here real quick? Like, we just...
I hit the tap out.
No, Sergeant seems going on and just let him pick it out. Of course, for those of you wondering, Sergeant Dark will be taking over from myself and Dark Jamada after this game. Stage through the last couple of games of the day, but right now, eyes on this one. Vector, Dragons dominating in terms of that control, which makes some sense with the Shyvana pickup, but you've really got to imagine, should Severa not have done more in the early game? You're playing Olaf, like you're built to fight around these early objectives.
I mean, a lot of the setups are just kind of strange, right? It felt like Revenge only had one good fight, and that was at the first Herald takedown. They took that in stride and did very good. Okay, there he is. Playing with fire, but has the Ocean Soul on the center to heal him back up, I suppose. So not exactly the end of the world. And if you're Vector, I mean, I guess you can wait out the Elder spawn and try and trade Elder for the Baron, or I suppose you could look towards trying to secure the Baron, but it will mean that I'll have to try and take a head-on 5v5, which, in all honesty, if Revenge are actually able to get a true 5v5 down, I feel as if they would win out, even if, you know, Fuyu, for example, gets popped. Fuyu is basically not a champion right, as far as you know, Felios is concerned. All he can really do is kind of just press R. He's only IE, he has no attack speed item, he's got Greaves and a dagger, right? And now he's just building Executioners because they have an Ocean Soul, so he's building away from not a second item completion because nobody else on the side of Revenge wants to pick up any anti-healing, so it's the Aphelios that has to do it. And it just sets Fuyu further and further behind, right? So even if he does get popped, like we saw in the bottom side play, Severa with a Lulu on his back could actually be enough to win our fight, because again, I look down the side of Vector and no one is necessarily too scary. Wukong is certainly, you know, a factor, but he's still 2 levels down on both the solo lane as well. Ego Speed's still level 13, but still a little bit under-leveled, higher than Fuyu, of course, but in this game, it's not really much of an accomplishment. I feel like I'm bashing on Fuyu a lot here, but
I mean, it's tricky. I want to ask you a question, which is kind of the opposite side of this coin, as we're actually may see a team fight kick off, so I might have to cut myself off, but we'll see if either of the teams really wants to pull the trigger on this one. It does look like Sarset is happy to do so. Severa might be able to just move away. Ragnarok is burnt. Might survive a lot of damage coming through from the Shyvana, but no, it looks like it's going to be okay as they peel off. But building components of items, it's something that Wukong was doing on Vector's side. It's also something that Maokai was doing on Vector's side. He's only just picked up the Abyssal Mask as his first item, had a lot of component pieces of other things. Is there some logic behind that?
In Aphelios' case, no. In Maokai's case, he doesn't really mind splitting his item build paths unless he specifically needs a particular item, but we want to see a fight go down.
Lav's already picked up a kill. Wukong Yangi has been engaged on and will be taking a lot of damage. Baron has reset. It's not going to be taken down as Ego Speed moving forward, looking for some kind of kill. Maybe looking to re-engage, but no ultimate available, and Revenge probably going to be pretty happy just to stop up that Baron and could look to start it up themselves. They do have the man advantage. Now looking to get on to the center. So much damage coming through from Zoe, but not able to secure the kill. As Revenge decide they've got a couple of too few health bars at the moment. And they're going to move away.
Hawkeye, probably very scared. He got sleeped right there, but Splash didn't really want to try his luck at Paddle Star, but yeah, this is the problem with Vector's comp right here, is that they can't reliably take Baron, right? There's no DPSer on this comp, so taking Baron versus a Zoe and a team that can just engage and run you down, it's a tough ask, especially when you're not necessarily in the lead. So a little bit of a flip. It's why I initially said maybe they could just wait out till the Elder spawns and try and trade it for that, because obviously Elder is undoubtedly the strongest buff in the game. Here we are, they go for the Baron attempt, and it's more than unsuccessful. It stalls in a bunch of time, but you would imagine that now, as time rolls on, the focus will be on this Elder Dragon. Certainly an earlier spawn than you usually see in any competitive game. Potentially the earliest spawn I think I've seen in a competitive game period. Gonna end up having it on the Rift at about 27th, 40, give or take. And Revenge gonna be the slower of the two teams to it, so gonna have to be face checking in here. Certainly a bit of a scary thing to do, especially if it's not all going in first. But there is still hope.
There is hope. I don't think this is a Vector have just got this dragon secured. There's definitely going to be a fight over it. Molten Edge picked up by Aphelios, so we'll have a little bit more spring in his step. But again, it's not the same spike that it usually would be, just because of the item position that Aphelios is in. Dragon on the map has spawned up, and Vector very quick to start it. Members of Revenge are pretty far back, and they're going to have to move forward, but he'll take a lot of damage. He gets to be looking for the engage. Not going to be able to get a knock up because he's rooted. Means that that ultimate is completely wasted. Now the backline starts Sprinter breaking up the fight. He's going to go low. Will he be able to go escape? I don't think he will. He goes golden. He's going to go down. We do see Hotshot taking a kill as well. 2 easy kills there for Vector in a very nice team fight. Turn their attention back on the objective.
Yeah, and we're going to pick up the Elder Dragon, and with the Elder Dragon in hand, you would imagine that they could also just go for the Baron if they so wish. Splaff is
going to get taken out. Start Sprinter looking for the kill. Going to be able to dunk down to secure Severo.
All right. Severo, it's your time, buddy.
Oh, he's going in. Ragnarok, so he's not going to be able to CC. Can he steal away? He can't. It's going to be secured. Shyvana picks that one up. Sarset with the smite. Barry picks up the kill onto Olaf. And now Vector, all eyes on the Baron buff.
Yeah, all eyes on the Baron buff, and getting double power buffs here, you would imagine that this has to be the end, or the final chapter. We're going into the final chapter of the game. It is so oppressive to have to deal with not only Baron, but that execute damage from Elder buff, and finally able to take down the big purple worm. Happy Vector and Will. I think we're about to be done here. I think we're wrapping up soon. We've had some games today.
Okay, let's take a step back. Revenge, what can they do in this situation? Elder Dragon against them, Baron against them. The team from Vector seem to have it all going for them right now. What can Revenge do here?
Well, I don't know if praying is necessarily a reasonable answer. You could, If I'm being serious, they just have to find a good on engage, right? They have to find a good on engage. Hopefully Severo can run somebody else down, but the rest of the Vector lineup are just, at this point, now they're so far ahead and so buffed up, I even feel that they're kind of time wasting being so slow out onto the map here. Finally being able to get some waves in sync, but letting this mid wave die is certainly a bit strange, but wanting to commit to the bot side instead, just saying, we don't want to split this buff up, we just all want to be on the same side of the map. No real urgency to try and take as many towers as possible, or rather try and brute force through. Nope, they're swapping back. Alright, well, I've seen worse uses of buffs. They have to be able to crack open the base with these buffs, is the main concern. Right now we're ticking down. I think there's a little more than a minute left of the buff right here for at least the Elder. And it's more than enough time to make a siege work here, especially if Shiv just pops a dragon form right here, starts getting some poke down, and the Maokai ult is more than enough to sort of edge out. Very simple inhib take Will, and now they can move to the bottom side.
Yeah, minions are pushing in. We'll be able to get them Baron buff to help that out, but Vector once again proving everyone wrong. A lot of people didn't have them. None of the casters had them as favorites in this game, and once again, ego speed put predictions right. No, only gets the knock up onto Maokai, unable to do anything there, and with this second inhibitor tower falling, they've done more than break open the base. They've smashed down the doors. Will be picking up the second inhib. Whether Vector decide to push for more, or whether they decide to reset and look towards that top side, looks like they're going to be not overstaying their welcome, going to be just trickling away.
Yeah, and this is the issue when you have a comp where if you're a Revenge, you want to go in, and especially early on, you don't find the fights. It becomes harder and harder if you only have one means of engage and no meaningful lockup to follow, or damage at that map, because Fuyu is so far behind. Finally picks up his second item. Kazrune, and he's a champion, Will. He's here, but it could be too little too late.
This is the fight where he's proved that he's now here to play. Although already half health, Niangi already half health, but he's a Maokai, so he's pretty beefy, and that Ocean Soul as well, keeping him alive. Revenge not feeling too comfortable to pull the trigger. Their minions crashing into their base. Super empowered minions moving forward, but Nagi's aggressively forward, looking towards Eager Speed. The engage has been removed as Fuyu now needs to getting the damage down. The third inhibitor's going to go down. Splash doesn't follow, but goes very, very low. The sniper from center won't be enough to secure any more kills, but now they're on to the next tower's one's already fallen. Vector looking for a second as they're going to look to clean up members of Revenge. Fuyu's going to be the first to go down, and doesn't seem to be as much else as Vector, proving everyone wrong once again. Pick up the win against Revenge.
Look, I'm still going to say justice for Jambo. All right, that's my heart will not change, but yes, very...
The colored one stat worth.
The one stat worth keeping justice for Jambo. But yeah, what a curious game. Vector do pick up the win here in a very extended game. It feels like an extended game, I feel, because the Elder Dragon was spawned onto the map and taken, but very curious from the side of Revenge, right? They have all of these early tools and setups from the top side of the map to be able to find these skirmishes early and actually win out really hard, but they only really find one good opportunity, and outside of that, they never really set themselves up for success, right? And then we won't even begin to mention Fuyu's itemization choices and his misclicks. I'm just gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and say it was a misclick.
I think we talked about it at length.
Yeah, we all know. We've apparently been there, I think. But yeah, Revenge just don't really capitalize on that first Herald fight, and they just slowly lose out. And I was very critical of the Vector's champion placement in their roles, because I felt they had a really, really strong draft where they could have literally counterpicked every single champion down the line on Revenge's side, but they didn't, and they still came out on top. And I have to wonder how much of it is kind of Revenge's doing, even though it is a very strong and convincing win for Vector at the end of the day, right? They played it cleanly, they played it slowly, and they scored the W, but at the end of the day, it feels like to me Revenge certainly had the tools to actually play the game out early. They had the draft where they could bridge onto the Aphelios and then have the Aphelios be the primary carry, let the Olaf, run riot through the team with the Ornn. But they don't do that. They just kind of rolled over, gave over every single dragon in one way or another, and eventually it came to a point where they had to fight for the Elder Dragon, and they couldn't really reasonably fight for the Elder Dragon. They gave it over for free. By proxy, they gave over the Baron, and off the back of that, they can't play the game anymore. They're too far behind.
And at the end of the day, Vector were just playing too well, right? There was no way for Revenge. Once they made these mistakes, Vector were not giving them any route back in. So congratulations to them for picking up their first win of the UKEL Summer Split. That's it for me and Jamada, but please do not go anywhere, because we've got two amazing games and two amazing casters picking up from us when we get back from our short break. It's going to be Darksoul and the Sarge, and they're going to be taking on Viperia versus Nerdrage. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few minutes.